The saloon is open.
Thank God the tiki bar is open. Thank God the tiki torch still shines. Thank God the tiki bar is open. Come on in and open up your mind. I was on a leave of absence and a resemblance to reality. I felt like a rocket launched to the great blue yonder from the boys down at Tennessee. I was driving by His Majesty's Court Hotel where the sign said to praise His name. I was tired and alone, I couldn't see too well, but I don't think that he was to blame. Thank God the tiki bar is open. Thank God the tiki torch still shines. Thank God the tiki bar is open. Come on in and open up your mind. There's a full moon over Daytona Beach, full moon in my mind. And my suntan dream, well, it's still out of reach, and the strip malls are robbing me blind. Well, his name was Mr. Dale Earnhardt, and he drove the black number 3. Now the king is gone, but he'll not be forgotten, nor his light will we ever see. Thank God the tiki bar is open. Thank God the tiki torch still shines. Thank God the tiki bar is open. Come on in and open up your mind. I know drinking no solution. I ain't had one in 17 years. But if that tiki bar was closed tonight, well, I might just disappear. Thank God
The saloon is open.
Thank God the
saloon is open tonight.
Thank God the tiki bar is open. Come on in and open up your mind. Thank God the tiki bar is open. Thank God the tiki torch still shines. Thank God the tiki bar is open. Come on in and open up your mind.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Oh no, not more music. Yeah. May 20th, Tuesday, the year of our Lord 2025, and you are welcome here in the Saloon.
Got the truth in my back. Leftist lies and globalism pushing them back. From the saloon to the airwaves, I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big gods creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Let this judge is twisted, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rainbow shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've seen the storms, I've walked the line. 41 years, badge on the grind. Now I'm on the air, my voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall. Sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. The static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, Rose will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting behind and from and in front of, to the side of, and not too terribly far away from where I am currently ensconced in my studio in North Idaho. I am, as was indicated, I am your conservative Sherpa. And that means that I am guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, globalist lies, chaos, deceit, betrayal. Because it's my job, man. It's what I do here. And thank you. Thanks to everybody for being here tonight. Of course, what you're about to hear consists of my opinion and my opinion only. Sadly or gladly, I don't have any guests tonight because who would want to be on this stupid show with me? And the answer is almost no damn anybody. Well, anyway, Canada Heavy Hall is here. Unleash Jeremy Hansen is here. Comic Artist is here. Mission Ready Men is here. Cheetah is here. If I can find it, there's L-Dub, the Lost Wanderer. And the Phantom is here. The Phantom lurks. The Phantom has quirks. I think there's someone who would probably agree with that. I am doing the job the American media maggots won't. I am fundamentally changing America one leftist red diaper doper baby at a time. We still serve stiff drinks here in the saloon, as you heard on the initial introductory song. We just don't water our drinks like we don't water our conversation. I'm looking at Steve Hilton. Okay, this is really weird. I haven't told you this, but up in the corner over here, I have a TV that's on. And it's either tuned to Newsmax or News or Fox right now. And I'm interrupting my intro because just for a moment, I glanced up here and I'm looking at Steve Hilton. Okay, you may or may not know who Steve Hilton is. He had a show on Fox News. And I'm looking up at him right now. And Steve fucking Hilton has orange eyebrows like a fucking Russian admiral. This is the weirdest thing. No, it's not the weirdest thing that I have for you tonight. I'm going to show you that some kind of a reprobate from the movie The Fly has started working for New Orleans law enforcement. And when you see that, you'll go something similar to just like I did. Anyway, politics, religion, crime, culture, race, sex, economics, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the saloon where the speech is free, but the booze is not. I am striving. I'm striving. Is that what did it? Maybe it was the V. I'm striving to stream all over places right now. You can find us I'm live right now on the Rumble channel, on X, on Twitch, KLRN. I'm going to be streaming later tomorrow on KLRN on Facebook Live. You can find us on Spreaker, on Apple Podcasts, and of course, YouTube up there. So in terms of YouTube, we are now, oh my God, look, we are almost to 26. Shit. Yeah, we're over 26 subscribers, okay? We're almost to 500 subscribers. We were 26 people away, 26 subscribers away, and now we are 21 subscribers away. I got another subscriber to the SHR Media Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show Rumble channel. I now have 109, I think, something like that. So thanks to everybody who is in here watching live. The show tonight, just who isn't lying today. I'm going to be talking about a few things that perhaps you didn't think that I would, and I'm going to be proffering a little bit of something askance from what I've said before, because I tried to do a deep dive into something tonight, and BZ, you think I can come on for 5 minutes with a tease announcement? Sure, buddy. You're on SHR. Anyway, Comic Artist says yes. Oh, and Morning Crankers podcast. First time here. Thank you ever so kindly. Comic Artist says, do you have a buzz on tonight? I'm just excited. I'm excited because it's my show. I get to do that. Excited, and sad, I guess, all at once, because this is my last show for the week, and I probably won't be back next Tuesday. Let's see if I still have this up here. I will be going to a Bigfoot conference, which is in Colorado, and I'll be gone for about almost 10 days in Colorado, because it's going to take me 2 days to drive there. And it's going to take me 2 days to drive back, because Mrs. BZ and I, we don't fly. We used to trust airplanes. We used to trust airports. We used to trust Tracons, but not so damn much anymore. Anyway, as I'm waiting for Jersey Joe to indicate that he's got something, an announcement that he wanted to announce, I don't get surprised about anything when BZ is on his game. Send an invite to X message. Oh, shoot. Yeah, fuck. Now that means that I have to do something technological. So, God. All right, hang on. While I'm doing that, let's see if I'm smart enough to play this. Be honest, everybody. Remember, this emphasizes be honest.
I think I'm getting fat.
No, you're fatter than you used to be, but you're not fat.
JP!
All right, you're kind of fat.
Babe,
Yeah.
from now on, I want you to be completely honest with me about everything.
Oh, I don't think you want that.
I do. I want you to be honest with me.
I was when I said I don't think you want that.
Promise me that you'll be honest with me no matter what.
Okay.
Ugh. She probably thinks that men find that attractive.
Most do.
No, they don't.
Oops.
Yeah, we do.
Do you think I would look good with my hair cut short?
Nope.
I just don't understand why I'm not looking more toned. I work out so hard.
You don't work out hard.
I do too.
You do the elliptical machine. That's easier than walking.
Okay, so you're saying I'm crazy?
No, I didn't say that.
But do you think that I'm crazy?
I absolutely think so.
No, I think I am going to start lifting weights, but not too much. I don't want to get too ripped.
No, you don't have to worry about that.
Do you like it?
No, I mean, just a bunch of chewy vegetables. This raw purple cabbage.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised you think anybody would like this. Do you even like it?
No.
No.
I literally do everything around here.
You don't do everything. Quit talking in dishonest absolutes to make yourself feel more significant and me look less significant. It's not good for our relationship.
Sharon is such a bad friend, don't you think?
I think she's a better friend to you than you are to her.
Do you think that I'd make a good mother?
No.
Why not?
I mean, you seem pretty self-centered to me. But that's not a good quality of a mother.
Do you think that she's prettier than me?
Yes.
Hey!
Yes.
Never be honest, because if you're honest, son of a bitch, that's what you're going. Let me go up here just a bit. Jeremy Hansen is in chat and just said that we are 14 away from 500 on SHR. That's changed in just the last hour, because the last time I looked and I went up here, I had to look because I make these banners and it says look down below right there. There's proof. We're 21 away from 500 subscribers. And now Jeremy Hansen has popped in and said, we are 14 away from, God, that is great, from just 500 subscribers. And now here's Jersey Joe. He's here to make an announcement. So take it away, Jersey Joe.
Number one, I want to thank you for allowing me to come on here. It's going to be a sort of announcement. I can't tell who the person is right now until everything's locked up. But we have a very big guest coming on the Reverb Common Sense.
Bigger than me?
Yes.
I'm pretty big.
I will give a hint. He had 3 successful TV shows, and he was executive producer and writer for these shows.
Michael Fox. You're going to have a hard time getting him in the frame. I'm just telling you that up front. I'm being honest.
But hopefully in another week or two, I'll be able to release his name. We've agreed. He was more than willing to come on the show. But I just don't want to release the name yet. But we're going to have a big announcement in another week or two for SHR. And this is huge for SHR.
Okay, so what you're saying is you don't want to jinx yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Right? Do I have it right?
I want to put it out there that there's something big brewing for a guest for SHR Media.
Well, I consider that in the periphery of things that make you go, I'll take things that make you go.
And you're
500 Alex.
The YouTube subscribers.
Yes.
Right before I came on, we were still at 21.
Yeah.
I walked into this room and it changed over to 14.
Yeah, that's what
Within
Jeremy
that 5
Hansen
minutes.
said.
Yeah.
That's him. And
Yeah.
Jeremy Hansen is packed with Veritas, and I know he would not lie to me when he says we're
it is.
14 away.
I look
then-
from the time it took me to walk from the one room into the studio, it changed from 21 to 14.
By
So
gum,
thank you.
Fabuloso.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like BZ has said for a long time, nothing succeeds like success and nothing exceeds like excess. You can take that to the bank. Joe, anything else, sir?
That's it. I'll leave you to your show, and I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciated. That was Jersey Joe with an announcement. See, now if I had an announcement, Joe, I hope this doesn't happen to you. 35 people watching live right now. I'm looking up at, not there. Where is it? God dang, I can't point properly backwards. I haven't learned that yet. I'm that stupid. Now I can see this, but apparently, sadly, a lot of people out here can't see it. Gee, I like one of the shows that has a special guest is done. Okay, and so what special? Phantom, if you're so good, tell us what it is. Jeremy Hansen always giving very nice kudos right now. So who's lying? Well, sadly, I believe in terms of tonight's show, which is just who isn't lying today, you can break that down into two groups, two tranches. Who uses the word tranches besides BZ? Economic fuck nozzles, okay? So, two cadres of people are lying to us, especially today. One of them is Joe Biden in the Joe Biden regime. And the other one is, sadly, the Republicans. So I was of two minds about this. What am I going to do first? Because I'm already almost a half hour into the show. But hey, it's my show and I get to do whatever the hell I want. So I was thinking about talking about Joe Biden first, because boy, have things changed. They have really changed recently. But I think that I'll talk about this big bill that's coming, this big, beautiful bill that's coming. And it's, I guess they call it the OBBA Act. It's a big, beautiful legislative package that's championed by President Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. And it's been redrawn in any number of crazy directions and ways in the House of Representatives. And this is both good and bad. And quite frankly, I think everyone needs to know that both sides of the aisle are lying. Now, normally I try to carry conservative water whenever I can, but with this, both sides of the aisles are lying. And I know you're just every bit as shocked as I am. Now, the last I looked, this huge piece of crap is sitting on someone's desk, but I'm not even sure of that. I will get to that. In terms of 1,100 pages, 1,200 pages, something like that. It's one of those massive things. If you hit somebody with it, you would kill them. It's got tax reforms and defense and border security enhancement and health care modifications and fiscal adjustments and all sorts of, for example, tax reforms. Let me see if I can bring this in here. I'll hit this in just a moment. The tax reforms include the extension of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, making individual tax cuts permanent from the 2017 Trump 45. We got some pretty good tax cuts. And of course, the Democrats want to eliminate that because they want to be able to spend profligately your money like water running through their fingers, like tears in the rain, according to Roy Batty. So if those don't get extended, Americans are going to be looking at basically an additional $4 trillion. And here's a Democrat saying that the biggest tax cut in history would screw America. But what would occur is real wages. Now, if you do continue the tax cuts, real wages, there's a possibility they could go up, and I will not say anything with a certainty anymore because I've been duked in the head enough times to know not to say that. But wages could go up by about $3,300 a year if we continue the tax cuts. Take-home pay for median households could increase by $5,500 a year. Essentially, if they don't go through, it would be a 22% tax hike on everyone. And that's roughly $4 trillion. And of course, you and I both know the Democrats, they don't want to see tax cuts. We'll get into tax cuts and spending cuts in just a moment. And they were talking about elimination of federal income tax on tips, on overtime pay, and Social Security benefits, except they're not in there. Wait 5 minutes, okay? Because that may change again. Sadly, these are, to date, promulgated lies so far. You would see an increase in the standard deduction child tax credit and introduction of a mega savings account with about $1,000 per child is the way I'm looking at this. Now, they also, and this has been a huge issue back and forth, raising the SALT. People have said, you're thinking about raising SALT. Oh, SALT, what is that? The Strategic Arms Limitation Talks? No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. State and local taxes. And Democrats want a deduction cap, and there's a potential deduction cap in here from $10,000 to $30,000. Okay, but let's stop here just for a second. 40 people watching live right now. Thank you very much. Why in the hell would Republicans even remotely consider giving any kind of a break whatsoever to blue and leftist states and cities and leftist urban rat cages? That means red and conservative states, areas, and enclaves will be paying for those blue states and leftist urban rat cage denizens. So why the hell would you want to do that? That's one area where I break with Trump. I'm done with being nice. I'm done with bipartisanship and compromise. That shit is a no-go with me. Now, another thing that's in there is an imposition of a 5% tax on remittances. And the way the government uses that and the way it's meant in this bill is a remittance. So, it's like, okay, what is it? A remittance? Well, a remittance is, in this instance, a 5% tax. I've waited years to hear this. Like Chief Dan George. Again, my heart soars like an eagle. A 5% on monies sent out of the United States of America earned by illegals inside the United States. That, folks, is a firm go for me. Do it. And then tax increases on private university endowments and certain nonprofit organizations. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's allow leftists to put up and shut up about paying their fair share. It's time leftist universities pay their fair share, just like they tell us, since many of them already possess, and you may or may not know, they already possess that's billions with a B, billions of dollars in these major universities, Ivy League and otherwise. Then, of course, there's money for defense and border security, allocation of $150 billion for defense spending, focusing on unmanned technologies like drones, that kind of thing. $70 billion for border security, $46.5 billion for barrier construction and additional funding for personnel and surveillance, and then healthcare. This is a double-edged sword, and this is why I want to make sure that everyone has at least a fairly decent idea about specifically what's happening with Medicaid. Now, some of these sites, all of the American media maggot sites, are saying that, oh no, there will be work requirements for Medicaid recipients, and then increased fees for Medicaid recipients above the federal poverty line. And even worse, restrictions on Medicaid funding for certain services like, euphemism, air quotes. Let me see, get my hand in there. Okay, there we go. Air quotes, including gender affirming care, the things that truly are mental, chemical, and physical butchery of children and adults with serious mental conditions who should be treated for those things first before there's any slice with a knife or another drug down the gullet. And of course, abortion-related services. Services. Margaret Sanger smiles today, even from her lovely little racist grave. The good news on this, there is some good news. And what do I got? About 2 more minutes before the bottom of the hour break. The good news is that the bill would make a bunch of Medicaid spending reductions through policies like stricter eligibility verification. Oh no, you can't decide who gets into Medicaid. How harsh and judgmental is that? Like citizenship checks, harsh, judgmental, tougher screenings on providers who get reimbursements, Medicaid fraud, waste, corruption, that kind of crap. And federal Medicaid funding cuts to states that offer coverage to residents living in the U.S. illegally, like illegal invaders. Why should we, why should we fund Medicaid for illegal invaders? But that's absolutely what Democrats demand. And they call that, all those things, they call them like onerous and oppressive and evil. And it's called kicking people off Medicaid. No, it's making sure that our hard-earned American taxpayer dollars are not pissed away on illegal invader bullshit and people that are gaming the system. Gaming the system. Let me ask a question before we go to the break. Is there anybody in here who may have had some kind of an encounter with Medicaid and saw certain persons standing in a line, and how did they get things that I didn't get? How did they get into the line before me? Why isn't this? No one seems to be playing it straight here. If you have any Medicaid stories, by the way, when we come back, if you dare to call, and you have the guts and the temerity to call and talk, then you can call and talk. I'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wanderer is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. The first half hour is done. It is 8:34 p.m. on the Pacific Time Arena. It is 10:34 p.m. Central and 11:34 on the far East Coast. And it's 1749.723 subcluster 4. You can find it these days in drawer 5, if I'm not mistaken, in Bolivian time, but that's kind of weird because I could just never really understand Bolivian time. And I don't understand why I never understood Bolivian time. As I indicated, and during the break, I updated, please subscribe to the SHR Media YouTube channel. We are 14 away from 500 subscribers right now. That could be you. You right there. Yes. Yes, I'm talking to you. It could be you that puts us over the top to 500 subscribers. Wouldn't that be wonderful? That'd be a great thing. And also, just for the hell of it, the phone lines are open. There are 17 phone lines. Well, there are limes in the line. I got to figure out some way of removing them, but you can call in at any time if you want. The lines are going to be open tonight. And as Lost Wanderer said in chat, hey, loving the Silver Surfer t-shirt or the shirt. It's a button-up shirt. And this is from Silver Surfer #1, drawn by John Buscema. And I said essentially that at one point, this is 1992. So I moved to another place in 1992. And in this huge footlocker of probably 400 comics, almost all from Marvel, I had Silver Surfer #1, Tales to Astonish, and I gave them away because it was late at night and I was moving and it was hot and I was tired, and I gave them to the kid next door because I didn't want to load the footlocker like 35 feet into a U-Haul truck, which already had the ramp down. That was one of the worst things that I can ever remember. How stupid was I? I probably had, I don't know, $150,000 worth of comics that if that kid didn't give them away or use those to line his parakeet cage. Yeah. Very, very sad. Well, we're talking about just who isn't lying today. And I was talking about Well, what's in this bill, this big, beautiful bill that folks are talking about? And one of the things that you're not told about this big, beautiful bill by Republicans, and this is omission on purpose, which to me equates to essentially a lie, is nobody's telling you those requirements, they don't kick in until 2029. Why aren't Republicans telling you that? Now, the CBO estimates that the big, beautiful bill would add approximately $3.8 trillion to the national debt. Of that, I don't doubt. Of the I sing. And it proposes a, hey, hang on just one second. I do. Look at this. I do have a phone call. Who is this? Sir or madame, please go ahead. Thanks for calling the Saloon.
Sir or madame, this is comic book artist Rich.
Good to hear you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How you doing? You ready to go?
I am going. I am wenting. I have been wenting now for an hour and 37 minutes, and it's great to have a show, and it's great to have you here. What are your comments, sir? What are your thoughts?
Well, about, I guess it's been a year now, they took my Medicaid completely away from me. They left me the Medicare. They took my Medicaid completely away and told me I had to get a private thing. So now I have to pay these, whatever they're called, where I have to go in and donate money for everything I do now.
Okay. And I'm sure it pleases you immensely to see that certain personnel in certain states, like illegal invaders, they should be subject to things that you are not, right?
Oh, I know. We've got people here. I kid you not. Some of the churches around here have these poor boxes, and they let people donate canned foods and things like that to these poor boxes. And I have seen, I don't know if they're illegal, but I've seen some Mexicans, and they would drive up in these beautiful trucks, these double cab, brand new pickups and big cars, and just wipe out the poor boxes. And it's made me mad. And I've talked to some people about it, and they said, well, it's there for the public. Anybody can come and get whatever they need. They can't regulate it, but I've seen no, I can't take that.
Well, we know the original intent of those things, and just as anybody who has dealt with the law for a while knows, that there's the letter of the law in the spirit of the law. And the letter of the law says and delineates very specific things. The letter of the law is what, if prosecuted, people will be prosecuted by. And then there's the spirit of the law, which that could equate to discretion. That is to say, if you have the ability to prosecute something, should you, and you should tender that prosecution with, okay, what am I doing? Am I sending a message? For example, when I've got happy stories coming up, and certain personnel are going to be prosecuted, and I think that sends a message, and I believe that completely comports with the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, and it's absolutely a happy story. But they make a goodwill box or other boxes like that for people that are truly poor, not to be absolutely ransacked by individuals who decide that they're going to go in and do exactly that. 45 people watching live right now. Thank you very much. So it's sad to see that you've been treated like that.
The Medicaid thing just absolutely because I was going through some bad times, was stuck in the bed for 2 years, all that stuff. And so I had to do a lot of hospital things at the time. And it's like they punished me for actually having to need them. And that's what it felt like. Right after that was over with, and they gave me the green light to where I was on the mend, they took everything away. And I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand that. And I've gone in, and the emergency room we've got, they can't turn anybody away. So we have, especially on cold nights, they get flooded with homeless and people like that to go in and say, "Oh, I'm sick," and they can't turn them away. They have to take them, and they give them a room that other people need, and then you go in there, and I'm talking about if an ambulance brings somebody. If an ambulance brings somebody in, they wheel them through the emergency room and out into the waiting room, and then put them in a chair to wait for a bed or wait for a free cubicle open. Meanwhile, there's homeless people sleeping on the windowsill. They've kind of cleaned that up now that it's getting summer, but it's worse in the winter. But they can't turn anybody away, and they know it. They know they can do this, and I don't know how you could stop stuff like this.
Let me guess, you're in California, always spelled it with a K.
No, I'm not in California.
Oh, you are lucky. Good for you. Excellent.
No, I stay the hell away from California.
Well, good for you. Sad to hear about that. So thank you for calling in, Rich. By the way, Rich, I'm going to be sending you a message probably tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I have a very important question for you. So thank you, however, for calling in, sir. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a safe trip, my friend.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. I'll be telling everybody where I'll be going a little bit later on tonight. Hey, Rich, great call. Thank you. So having spoken to Rich and having spoken to about Medicaid, I'd like to mention this. The bill proposes a $4 trillion increase in the debt ceiling. And it raises for me a critical question. And that's why I'm running afoul of the Republican Party line these days. And the question is, and I think everybody should be asking themselves, when does this shit stop? But wait, this, of course, doesn't factor Doge cuts, because an insufficient number of political hacks in DC either want the Doge cuts or any cuts whatsoever in the program. They don't want Doge cuts. They don't want any cuts in any spending. I go back and I always remind people about this. 50 people watching live. Thank you. Remember the DC axiom about spending from fiscal year to fiscal year? And it goes like this. If for the next fiscal year you don't receive any additional funding, that's called a cut. In DC, if your budget remains the same and you don't receive a greater heaping helping of money, that's termed a cut in DC politics. And then don't be surprised when you discover, because there are Green New Deal provisions that are in there as well. Excuse me while I cough just for a moment. There are subsidies for clean energy initiatives. There's support for electric vehicle infrastructure, even though essentially none of that stuff is working or going on or desired or wanted by the purchasing public or the consumer. So the bill still I hope you're sitting down, because this is another thing that the Republicans aren't telling you. And this is, again, why I say, tonight's show, who isn't lying today? Because the Republicans aren't telling you the truth. And the truth is that bill still carries $700 billion of the original $900 billion in green new energy portionalities demanded by leftists. And that's when you say something similar to, what? Why aren't Republicans fighting this crap? Like Marvel Comics writer Stan Lee and creator said, why aren't you fighting this with every fiber of your being? You should be screaming this from the top to the bottom of everywhere and all points in between. Okay, now, then there's the other aspect of this. Taxation on tips, overtime, and Social Security. So people were saying income, what everybody wanted is no tax on tips, period. Fucking end of statement. That's it. And that it looks as though this point, it's not going exactly where it needs to be. It benefits people in the service industry. You got to try to keep people in the service industry. And the concerns about this are that there's going to be potential abuse, that employers reclassifying wages as tips to reduce their tax liabilities. Okay, but why not try it? It hasn't been tried before. Let's see if this would benefit the people that do a very serious job. I was a waiter, as crappy a waiter as you could possibly be or think, but I had to live on tips at a college. And you know how generous college students are with tipping. So, now they're coming up with various economic impacts, and they're saying that the people wouldn't be taxed on tips, but only up to a certain proportionate level. Overtime, exempting overtime pay from federal taxes. I think that's a great idea. So they say the cost of this will be $680 billion to $3.1 trillion over a decade. You ever been worked like a dog, like a slave, like a horse at your job, and you get taxed on overtime? If you're a cop in some certain situations, you don't get the option. You have to work overtime. And depending upon what your contract says, you don't get to choose in what fashion you want your remuneration. If you're forced to work overtime, initially you may think, I'll take it in cash. No, there are many places in law enforcement where you cannot take your overtime in cash. You can take it in HIL, in CTO, in vacation, but then try to get days off on a vacation following the forced overtime. So, and then Social Security. Currently, people on Social Security and incomes above certain thresholds, they pay taxes up to about 85% of the Social Security benefits. But the dealio is there isn't that yet much knowledge about this. And then it runs hot and cold. Trump made certain promises to us that we bought off on. And I think we're getting probably 70, 75, maybe 80% of what he promised. But I can't be in Trump's head. I don't know what he's thinking. All I can respond to is what I see in articles, in the paper, on the internet, that sort of thing. So all of this naturally is going to change. For example, Jersey Joe said earlier in chat, I don't recall to what reference he was making, but he said that changed. Well, yes, all of this changed day by day. And what is true when I found this for the show today, and then I'm portraying it to everyone tonight, might not be true tomorrow. things could change. Nancy Pelosi, if you remember, infamously said that we have to vote for the bill before we can see what's in the bill. Need I remind you, that's not exactly dissimilar to what we're seeing today. I've been watching TV a good portion of today when I wasn't getting chow for the doglets. And people are saying all over the networks and all throughout the boneyard land that no one has actually seen a potential copy of that bill, 1,100 pages or not, in 5 days. So these are all discussions. This is mouth music. This is true this day, true yesterday. Will it be true tomorrow? And the answer is, I don't know. So, okay, like, folks, semper gumby, because that's what we're all going to have to be. It's going to change again. But here's the things that I discovered are abso-fucking-lutely not in the bill. And this is what I am not very happy with. It doesn't shut down the Department of Education. It doesn't abolish the ATF. Republicans are simply way too cowardly to do anything like that. It doesn't have the SHORT Act in it. And the SHORT Act is Stop Harassing Owners of Rifles Today. Again, cowardly Republicans. It does have, and I found this rather inspiring and yet kind of amazing, it does have the Hearing Protection Act in it, which would remove suppressor regulations from the NFA, the National Firearms Act. And that might have been something that kind of squeaked by you. I just discovered that today when going all scouring the internet and trying to do show prep for tonight. And the other thing is, it doesn't eliminate taxes on Social Security. It doesn't remove funding from Planned Parenthood. And it doesn't remove funding from CPB, NPR, PBS, so-called, public broadcasting. If you only tolerate leftist viewpoints, you can still have all that crap. Or if you're an erudite, cultured and elitist white, you can still hear your classical music in FM as you're served tea in your Tony third floor walk up, or whatever the fuck, in your leftist urban rat cage. There is no updated copy on what everybody's working on. It just isn't available anywhere. I've looked. No one truly knows what's in it. I'm not making that up because I don't have to. So I could very well, the things that I've said tonight, I could very well be proven a liar tomorrow. So we talk, maybe not we, Republicans talk about transparency. But now is the time for the Republicans to step up and tell the American taxpayer, just be honest. Okay. All right. These are the reasons we felt we needed to do this. Then go on down the line and then strictly delineate. And we didn't do this because we couldn't push it through. And here are the reasons. And then, like a menu, tick this off. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do this. What? I get it. It's Trump. All right. A lot of very serious and big mouth music from Trump. And I grok a lot of the stuff that he's doing and a lot of his attempts. I truly do. But I wish in some occasions certain personnel could come through with Star Trek. And it's like this. Be Scotty from Star Trek. Why not be Scotty from Star Trek? What's the first thing you knew about Scotty when you examined him on Star Trek? He underpromised and he over-delivered almost every damn time. So now I have to manage my expectations, and now I have to manage your expectations. And why do we have to manage our expectations? I don't think Republicans are being transparent. And some of that accounts for, just outright lies. Just be honest. Okay. One final question. I'm going to throw this out here. Oh, damn. I haven't been putting things up in chat. Here we go. Yeah. Comic artist said, yep, that was a gentleman that just called. I've worked jobs that had mandatory overtime, and it turned out that 14 hours was for the government, depending on how many hours you work. Yeah. And I just regaled you with tales about being a cop, where I was ordered to do overtime. Now, could I take the time? Fuck no. But I had to work the overtime anyway, because that's just what was said. Let me turn this off and go back over here. And let me see if we have some more comments. Canada Heavy Hall. Thanks for being here tonight, by the way. Lost Wanderer saying to Canada Heavy Hall, when I worked in the print book cover field, we knew it when it would screw us over. And Mission Ready Men said, I learned that as a lesson as a kid, and it always stuck with me. And in Canada, Canada Heavy Hall is from Canada. We had no say. And basically the bosses, the employers were saying work or walk. And it was no more complicated than that. Lost Wanderer said, because I made a Scotty reference, I sat next to Scotty during a Star Trek con aboard the USS Enterprise, naval carrier. We talked about science and what he got access to. Then we sat there and listened to Jadzia Dax talk. I'm not sure. I'm not all that up on my Star Trek stuff, although perhaps I should. Let me make this final suggestion. 48 people watching live right now. Thank you. Is it time? Is it past time to bring back a meaner, leaner, nastier version of the Tea Party? Does anybody remember the original acronym for T in Tea Party? I sure as shit do. The T stood for, and it should have been capitalized every time it was used, because it stood for taxed enough already. We all were. We all have been. And then it kind of became a mockery of itself, and Lois Lerner from the IRS decided that she was going to try a high, wide fuck of all the conservative 501cs that were involved. Thanks for that. So is it time to can we still side with Trump, but insist that we go kind of primeval? Bring back the Tea Party. Taxed enough already. Well, hell yes, we are. And a Tea Party with muscles and pissedness. Kind of jacked. Kind of upset. Kind of done with bipartisanship and compromise. And one that can customarily be found with leftist veins in its teeth, for example. Yeah, I've said for a long time, I stand with Trump as long and as much as I possibly can. I don't love the guy. I'd have him over for dinner. He's made a shit ton of mistakes as 45, and he's still making mistakes as 47. A lot of his appointments are better this time around. A lot of the things that he's done are better this time around. But the only perfect presidential candidate is me, and I'm not running for obvious reasons. Just look at me. But still, we can do better. Everybody can do better. And do I have to go along with everything that Trump says and wants? No. But it's my obligation, I believe, for me to make sure that I bring the limitations and the problems and the issues in front of everybody. Well, I'm going to come back. Obviously, when I do, we're going to be talking about the Autopen regime, because the theme of tonight's show is just who isn't lying today? Well, I discussed the Republicans, and yeah, I think they're lying today. Who else? The Autopen regime. We'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone. attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRN You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right, you can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm BZ. Thank you for watching tonight. Half the show is gone. It is 9:05 p.m. Pacific, 11:05 Central, and 12:05. It's after midnight, the magic witching hour. And I'm still drinking. Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe it's clear liquid. Maybe it's Diet Sprite. Maybe it's potato water. Who knows? Who cares? So thanks to everybody for being here tonight. I dabbled with 50. Then I hit 51 people watching live. Thanks to everyone for being in chat. Lots of comments. Thanks for people watching. Also, in podcast, I get, I think, just about as many people watching in podcast as I do watching live. Let's go to, well, we know, and the past couple of days, if this wasn't a target-rich environment in terms of Joseph Robinette, I'm sorry. Did you just doom your child to, I don't know, whatever the hell, lots of money, except probably not so much money anymore? Why would you name your child Robinette for a middle name? Biden. Tons and tons of things have occurred. We will go over them. You may call in if you like to discuss them. I will do this again if you are interested. The phone lines are open. Phone lines. This is funny. I say phone lines. It's folks. To be honest, truth in broadcasting. It's phone line singular. Okay. Just to be honest. Alex Berenson. Why we need to humiliate Biden. People on the left have been saying everything revolves around these two words. Move forward. We are moving forward. We don't want to talk about Joe Biden. We don't want to talk about the people that were directly involved, the puppet masters. We don't want to talk about this actually being a shadow government run by individuals who were absolutely unelected. We do want to talk about moving forward for obvious reasons. Lost Wonder. It's like naming your kid Cinnamon, her destiny, or a boy named Sue, because I know you'd have to get tough and fight or die. Alex Berenson wrote. Now, Alex Berenson is a very interesting cat. Alex Berenson is a novelist. I can't think of the series that he has written, but he's written a suspense and mystery series. And then he came out. Now, he was loved and adored by leftists all over the place when he was an author, and he leaned left. And you could see it. You could read it in his books. He was a pretty good and engaging author. Again, the series he wrote escapes me, but he first began as an author. And then, you may or may not remember, he came out with 6 kind of small, maybe quarter-inch, maybe half-inch books about Wuhan 19. Because for whatever reason, Wuhan 19 lit him up. It lit his ass on fire. And he began investigating, doing very serious deep dives into Wuhan 19, any number of aspects. If you go to, I don't know, say Amazon or wherever the hell it is that you buy books, and put in tappity tap Alex Berenson, you can find the 5 or 6 white books that he wrote about the pandemic. They're great. They're packed with what normal people call facts. And once those began to issue forth, leftists began dropping his ass like crazy. And now he was, like a host of other people, dragged kicking and screaming from the middle or the left over towards the right. He's not necessarily so moderate, and he's leaning right these days a little bit. And that's where this comes in. Now you know a little bit about Alex Berenson and why he is opining in this and why he says this. And the headline is, why we need to humiliate Joe Biden. And at first glance, you're thinking, how harsh, how terrible, how judgmental. It may seem cruel, but we must prevent similarly addled men from clinging to power. And the answer to that is the first time I've done this tonight. Yes, we must make sure that we humiliate the shit out of people like this and the people that are running him, and then to make sure that this never happens again. All of these articles, I don't have time to read the whole thing, but you get the gist of it from the very beginning. You got to prevent this from ever happening again. And doing it is by pointing out the obvious with a huge slather of ridicule as well. Mission Ready Men makes this interesting observation. He says, Berenson took a big hit in his career and a big hit financially by writing those books. And that is very true. The thing I also wanted to get to is all the articles that I write, all the articles that I bring to you, all the videos that I bring to you. There will be all the show links for each show at bloviatingzeppelin.net, bloviatingzeppelin.net. That's my website that I've had since 2004. And you can also find all the show links in the SHR Media Rumble channel under BZ's Saloon. All the show links will be in there. So if you want to read these at your leisure, they are available for you to do precisely that. Then a flurry of information smashed everybody right in the gazette. Here's another one. This is from the New York Post. Biden sources suspect a key aide might have abused the Autopen as Trump's far more restrictive signing rules were revealed. And that's why I call it the Autopen regime. So the first thing that everybody who's a thinking individual has to conjure is how much of the crap that got pushed through was because Biden really did it. Biden really wanted it. I submit that it's time for me to go over here to some of my assets that I had arranged for the show tonight. One of them is this. This was displayed any number of times from a couple of months ago. I keep shit because I want to put them up on the internet again when they are applicable. These are applicable. This is applicable. And we are going to get a little bit primeval with Biden tonight. Who are the people that were running Joe Biden? Obviously, Jill Biden, one of the biggest fucking power mongers that I can think of, an abject abuser of her husband. And if I were still in elder abuse, I would especially as a sergeant, I would still seriously consider opening a case on her as an elder abuser. A law enforcement case on her, not a hearing or we want to hear what you, fuck that. Then Hunter Biden, he was in there. And then one of the biggest right there, Ron Klain, had a great deal to do with Biden. Jeff Zients. Hey, the Binder. Quentin Fulks. Jake Sullivan. Ben LeBolt. Mike Donelon. These are people that you may not have heard, but a lot of people who are true lightning comes from their fingertips in many sides of the aisle. And these people are behind the scenes arrangers. Their job is to make shit happen. Steve Ricchetti, Jen O'Malley Dillon, Julie Chavez Rodriguez, and Sarah Schreiber. And of course, I believe there are more. One of those would obviously be Barack Hussein Obama. I think that was his third term. Remember when Obama said something similar to, ideally, I'd like to be able to sit in my PJs in my basement and make shit happen and be a puppet master myself. I am approximating the word, Senator. So please calm the fuck down. But I wouldn't mind being in the background and telling people what to do and being the puppet master myself. And there are, I can't think of her name right now, Valerie Jarrett. I wouldn't be surprised if Valerie Jarrett had a great deal to do with this, with the Biden Autopen regime. And also Susan Rice, the two photos that they weren't in there at the time. I see I have some more comments. Staffers operating Biden's Autopen were allegedly taking payoffs in exchange for pardons, according to Representative Tim Burchett. Well, would it surprise you to think that I'm going to be getting to that as well? James Harbin, thanks for being in chat. Look at Joe Biden's signature in the Autopen. Cheetah also indicating, wouldn't surprise me at all, Jersey Joe. Lost Wanderer, Jill 100% should be investigated. Yeah, but you're right. There's about a 0 percentile chance of that. Rich says, Michael Obama will pose nude for Penthouse before Jill gets a mugshot. That is true. That is very true. Anyway, in this story, a key aide to President Biden, former President Biden, may have exceeded the scope of authority by liberally using an autopen to sign official documents, according to two former White House sources, as President Trump's aides set up far more restrictive rules governing the use of the autopen device. Now, the first response of Democrats to that was, let's fall back on Biden is infirm. Well, if he's so fucking infirm, why was he president? Why did he have your confidence in the first place, liar Jake Tapper and all the people that are behind him? The shindig was, well, he's too shaky with his hands because of his advanced age, parenthesis, and dementia, that he had to work the autopen device because he needed it in order to sign bills, EOs, all of those items. Just like that. I am of two minds. I'm not sure that I have enough time to play this. Again, you can see this video and you can play it yourself. It's 12 minutes long. Let me at least start this. This is because I don't always watch him. When I do, it can be Jesse Waters can run hot and cold. He can be spot on, or he can be kind of a little ridiculous. Let's listen to at least to a little bit of this from Jesse Waters.
We got some sad news over the weekend. Former President Joe Biden revealed he was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer that spread to his bones, stage 4. President Biden said, cancer touches all of us. Like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support. President Trump wished Biden a fast and...
Okay, stop. Did this at very first blush not stink to high fucking heaven to you? This absolutely smelled of dog shit that you tracked into your finest white carpet from the very get-go.
Successful recovery. We here hope President Biden's getting proper care and keeps fighting. This was a shocking diagnosis. How did the best medical team in the country let the world's most powerful man's cancer go undetected?
I have an answer to that a little bit later on after we play this.
Until now. Biden was the one who caught it himself. He had urinary issues, went to the doctor, and they found a nodule. That's not how prostate cancer is detected these days. Doctors usually find it way earlier through blood tests. But Biden wasn't given a cancer screening at his last medical checkup about a year ago.
It is interesting to note that...
Okay, stop. But wait, there's more revealed just today.
President Trump's, President Obama's, and President Bush II, in their most recent physicals, in their terms of office, obviously 2025 for President Trump, did comment on their PSA levels. And so they got screened while in office and they commented on it. There is not a report of a PSA test on the most recent physical that was read out for President Biden's last year in office.
Which doctor decided not to screen President Biden for prostate cancer? And why? Biden's not a healthy man. He had skin cancer when he was president. He broke his foot, had 2 pretty bad cases of COVID. And before he was president, he had 2 brain aneurysms. Why aren't they doing a full battery of tests on America's oldest president? Yale Dr. Howard Foreman says it's inconceivable that this wasn't caught earlier. Dr. Zeke Emanuel, a Biden guy, says Biden's had prostate cancer for years.
Stop. Tell you what, boys and girls, let's put the brakes on right there, shall we? Because other articles came later. And we'll go on with the heels of this. Anybody remember this? Biden himself made a fuck up, a verbal fuck up. Well, that shouldn't really shock anyone. Biden's 2022 cancer slip up that was downplayed by the White House resurfaces, in which Biden said, he was talking about a speech he was in a speech talking about emissions from refineries and whatnot. and he referenced him being in himself being in Delaware. Delaware. They were emissions from oil refineries. And he said, that's why I and so damn many other people I grew up with have cancer, and why for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation. Okay. Stopped clock. Part and parcel of the stopped clock syndrome. And as we heard, another story. Doctor who worked with Biden said he had cancer while he was president. He did not develop it in the last 100 to 200 days. Well, guess what? That's abso-fucking-lutely correct. And I have the stories and the articles to prove it as well. Go to bloviatingzeppelin.net, BZ's Saloon on Rumble. All my show links will be in there. So let us continue. Let's take this down and put another article up on the stage because it continues. Here's the newest article that came out today. Imagine that. Former President Joe Biden diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer. Now, I'm reading this to you for two reasons. Number one, I'm making points. And number two, a lot of people don't watch the show. They listen later in podcast. So that's one of the reasons that I read a lot of stuff, so that people who are listening can understand where I'm going. This headline, almost like no headline I've seen before, buries the lead. Former President Joe Biden diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer. What to know about the illness and treatment options according to experts. Okay, let's look at this. Former President, blah, blah, prostate cancer. Paragraph 1. Then paragraph 2, this represents a more aggressive form. Paragraph 3, words of support flooded, blah, blah, blah. Paragraph 4, lead buried. On Tuesday, a spokesman for Biden said the former president was never diagnosed with prostate cancer before last week. I hope you're sitting down. President Biden's last known PSA, prostate-specific antigen test, was in 2014, the spokesperson said. Prior to Friday, President Biden had never been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Okay, process that, if you would, because this has national and global implications. And the implications, I was thinking them. I wish I'd written them down. And people a lot better than me did it with a lot more eyeballs than me. Joe Biden sent J6ers with cancer to prison. This is from Laura Loomer. Joe Biden sent J6ers with cancer to prison and denied them medication. I'm not going to give up my dream of seeing him spend time in prison. Biden locked cancer patients up in solitary confinement. He set the precedent for himself. He didn't pardon himself. Biden for prison. But again, do what BZ's axiom is, do the logical extension on all of this. It's massive. It's huge. It's incredible. It's unprecedented. It does, in fact, make you want to do that. This is Matt Walsh on X. This is the most cynical thing I've ever seen in American politics. It is truly astounding. Biden has stage 4 cancer. There is no way in hell they just caught it now. They knew it. Stop. Okay. This is when, the graphic. Stop. Stop right there. Someone's lying. It stinks. It reeks. You knew it. I knew it. All your spidey senses were tingling. It's worse than a ton of rotten carp on a hot dock in the middle of the hottest summer day in Florida, in Valrico, Florida. That's pretty damn hot. They knew it probably for years and lied to the American people. And then they waited until 2 days before a book comes out about the cover up of his mental decline so that they could change the subject and quiet all criticism in the name of compassion for a sick man. Remember, all the Democrats have been saying for the past week and a half, we're moving forward. The whole thing is so transparent. I agree. These people are evil beyond words. Absolutely evil beyond words. Chidi says, I've had 3 PSA tests and physical screens already at age 58. I have some issues, but I can't imagine. Well, I've had prostate cancer. You know, if you're discovered early enough, you can get through it. And another form of cancer. I have melanoma. That's from being stupid and having an outside job, literally for decades. My sentiment, fuck them with all the awful takes. Well, I agree. Let me stop here just for a second. Everybody involved in the Autopen regime, in the Biden regime, brought all this shit on themselves. So I don't feel sorry. I don't feel sorry for Biden. I don't feel sorry for Jill Biden. That bitch pushed him out on Front Street and used him like a soaking red bloody tampon and just pitched him away when he was done. She pushed him out into Front Street like no one ever has, not even Nancy Reagan. Reagan had huge political aspirations way before he ever met her. And so I don't feel sorry for any of these fuck nozzles at all. Not about Biden, not about his runners, not about anyone like that. Also from Matt Walsh. Their plan was to engineer the first female president to push through a cancer-riddled dementia patient, get him reelected by whatever means were necessary, let him die, and then have her take over. Isn't that the most craven, evil, plotted plan that you can think of? You know, some people say, but once you get to the age of 75, I'm 75, or 80 or something, they don't do PSA tests anymore. Yeah, well, I'm not the president, and I don't get to pick and choose what tests I'm going to make. And when you're a president and a vice president, you get physicals. So it's an if-then equation. You're lying then or you're lying that now. If you didn't know, then you're incompetent. If you didn't say anything about it, then you were an abjectly evil piece of shit. There are really no more two ways about that than that. Lost Wanderer says this, they didn't know prior because he hadn't seen the doctor in years. That's what I said in the article, 2014. But the other aspect of that is, Lost Wanderer, is he lying? Was he lying then? Is he lying now? When do people tell the truth about Joe Biden? I suspect everyone, every time. Smells worse in the house of a rising sun with no running water and no AC. Ooh, that's a brainworm. Eesh. Lost Wanderer said, I had thyroid cancer. Removed my right thyroid. Been fine since, knock on wood. Gush. Good. Good show. Yeah, she should be charged with elder abuse. That's another distinguished comment. Yet, the plan reeks of 100% accuracy. And I freaking hate Matt Walsh. I would agree. But with this one, oh yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I agree with him. These are the most cynical, evil persons to plan a political putsch, P-U-T-S-C-H, look it up, in quite some time. And then, okay, stop. I do, however, have something to make you laugh in just a moment when I come back. So I'm BZ. Thank you for being here tonight in the saloon. I topped at 50. Now I'm about 49 people watching live. So please go Winkle. I'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense. Just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of Common Sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure. He always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
Are you looking for bold, honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture and struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleashed 101, where real talk feels like home. Find us at unleashed101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And it's the last half hour. During the break, I was playing a lot of stuff in chat, and Lost Wanderer was saying something similar. Let me see if I can get up here. You can imagine if I ever did a political show. Why not? You should. You know, okay, Lost Wanderer. Here's my offer out to you. Plink in the water. You want to come on and do a political show with me sometime? The offer is open. Anytime you want to do that, Let's chew the fat, shall we? Fat chewing, by the way, that's an Italian source. I was watching Stanley Tucci, and I discovered where chewing the fat came from, which is kind of weird. So also, Cheetah. It's a pile of BS. It's a huge constitutional issue to essentially have a president by committee. The unitary executive is well established in constitutional law. It is an unelected shadow government. Plain and simple. Absolutely no more complicated than that. So we know, we've seen, we've heard them lie about all of that. This was the biggest political scandal and still will continue to be, despite leftists saying, "Oh, move forward, will you? Don't look at the stuff that we did past there. If it's in the past, it doesn't make any difference. We're all moving forward, and you should too." Here's another story. Biden Family Insider exposes culture of concealment in former administration. Michael LaRosa, who works for Jill Biden, tells Fox News the administration concealed. They couldn't tell the truth about any damn thing. They concealed small things like dog bites and family events. There was this group in the White House who were allergic to transparency, and I'm talking about just in the East Wing. The very first day walking into the White House, the usher was fired, and I couldn't get reporters straight answers because nobody would give me straight answers. So that makes you wonder, did the binder give any of us any straight answers anytime? Here is Natalie Winters, and she was on, who is that guy? Piers Morgan, along with, oh God, I can't, Sink Uger, something like that. He's the guy that was crying in 2016 when Trump won, literally crying. It was a sight to see. It was a wonderful, I beheld it with great love and wonder. Anyway, she essentially said, and she braces everyone here, the Democrat State Department said Biden was an excellent president who had zero foreign policy mistakes, and health concerns were they're just conspiracies, right?
That is sort of seeding that is an outrage for respectfully people who will come on this program. I would say that you should maybe study the prerequisites to be commander in chief or the president of the United States. I think it's more than just a surge of adrenaline that maybe gives you a 50% chance to maybe make a good decision. I'd also posit that maybe certain other presidential candidates, whether President Trump or Democrats, wouldn't have actually had to have stood up to Putin because he wouldn't have invaded like he didn't under President Trump, because they wouldn't have had someone who was essentially dead, either from a mental cognizance perspective or even just an actual health standard. And I think if you look at the legacy of the Biden regime, it's cover up after cover up after cover up. And I'm so glad that Antony Blinken is very adamant that Joe Biden had a really good sense of geopolitics. I really disagree with that. I think that's just a continuation of this cover-up. I think you should have been asking Antony Blinken, who...
Let me paraphrase Barack Hussein Obama. Joe Biden can fuck up and will fuck up anything he touches.
...was actually running the show. And it's really quite interesting. You think he had such a great geopolitical track record. I think the 13 families of the people in Afghanistan who died because of Joe Biden's botched withdrawal would certainly beg to differ with you on that. Maybe he just needed some more adrenaline, but that's an absolutely asinine take. The guy was obviously sick from day one while he was in office. And no offense, if they were going to lie about the mental health and the actual health of a president, so much so that even when he said on stage admitting to having cancer in 2022, they continued to cover it up. They called it a gaffe. The media ran cover for him. If they were willing to cover for something that huge, what else were they lying about? So I don't take Antony Blinken.
You're lying now, or you're lying then, but you're lying because you're all liars. It's a genetic disposal towards lies. You cannot not lie.
Word for 1 second that Joe Biden had a good sense of self when he was making decisions, if he was willing to sit there as Secretary of State and say absolutely nothing for 4 years when Joe Biden was covering up truly one of the largest, I would say, health scandals, bigger than Watergate, of our time.
It wasn't just a health scandal. It didn't have anything to do with health. It had absolutely 100% everything to do with a shadow government. And will we sit here and do nothing? Well, a large percentile of Americans will do what their TV tells them. From they live, obey. And they obey. And they listen to their TV set. And they do move on. And they do move forward. But don't think that, here we go. Let me go to another one here. Here's this. I have to play these two before the show is over. And I should remind everybody. In chat, Jeremy Hansen. Unfortunately, they will never put anybody in prison. Sadly, I agree. They will say they were being compassionate. I agree. Lost Wanderer, I might take you up on that. Please do, sir. Anytime after I return, the invitation for you, quite frankly, is open. My 90-year mission, if I accept to monitor Earthlings and report back to Alpha Centauri Council of Alien Affairs. I love watching Charlie Kirk smash Cenk Uyghur on TV. That's a funny thing. I agree with that. Speaking of speeches, RFK gave one today, and then Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, weighed in today. And I hope to be able to get both of those in before the end of the show. So let's start with RFK, because you know what? This guy is doing the job that I elected Trump for and the appointments that he subsequently made. So there's a chick in here. Her name is Tammy Baldwin. She's a Democrat from Wisconsin. So she was slamming Kennedy up one side and down the other. And she said, the loss of 3,200 fewer grants is an attack on life-saving programs. And it went on and on and on and on. Hey, let's listen.
Is it Doge reviewing NIH funding opportunity announcements? Is it Doge reviewing NIH grant award?
We've got administrators. We're cutting waste. We're cutting duplicative programs.
You're funding $3 billion less in biomedical research than you did a year prior.
We're spending less on administration of those programs.
3,200 fewer grants.
We're spending, well, many of the grants were terminated because they were grants that were not advancing.
These aren't grants terminated. These are grants not awarded because the panels weren't convened.
We spend 70% of the world's biomedical research out of NIH, 70%. And we're the sickest country in the world.
$18 billion or 40% from the NIH budget slow the development of new treatments.
How about you let him
we
fucking
are the
answer?
sickest country in the world. So that money has not been well spent. We've had a 38% increase in our agency, growth in our agency over the past 4 years.
I'll ask you, is funding for Alzheimer's disease research centers DEI? Because you're holding up $65 million for 14 of those centers in 9 states, including the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Is funding for cancer centers DEI? Because you're holding up $47 million in cancer center support grants at 9 cancer centers in 8 states. Is funding for rare disease research DEI? Because you're holding up $55 million for 11 rare disease clinical research network grants in 8 states.
Okay, stop right there. She's a Democrat. Do you believe her? Do you believe anything that's coming out of her mouth? I sure as shit don't. She's the same as talking to Joe Biden or anyone on that side of the aisle. They have a congenital problem with telling the truth.
These are just a few examples. And the list goes on and on, Secretary Kennedy. I've run out of time. I yield back.
Thank you.
This is a fun game we're playing.
Mr. Secretary, let's talk about clinical
questions and to ask questions and don't give me a chance to answer them. Don't give me.
That's exactly what happened. That is precisely what happened. And the point is, that's the point. The point is to throw an assload of questions at this guy who, number one, because of his vocal issue, takes a while to be able to answer. If you would just allow him to answer, he would. But the point is not to answer. The point is to just throw shit on him as much as humanly possible. Here's Marco Rubio.
I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. I yield back.
May I respond?
You may say.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job based on what I know.
Well, that's
about
just
your
a
record and
flippant
what you
statement,
stand
Mr.
for.
Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I didn't ask.
Senator,
questions.
please let the Secretary have
I'd be
the floor.
happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your
response.
time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add.
Well-
Your remarks do not represent the view of this committee.
Well, Mr.
Secretary, please.
Well, I'd like to. I can't respond to everything he said because much of these are untrue, but I'll go through a few. First of all, I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with USAID. For example, I don't regret
hell yeah.
cutting $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes us stronger and more prosperous as a nation.
I raised
don't regret
Sudan,
psychosocial support services.
I raised
USAID.
Sudan, Mr. Secretary.
Can I
not
respond, Mr.
Mozambique.
Chairman, or do I?
Senator, I'd ask you to suspend. You had 7 straight minutes.
I chose to
railing on-
use my time that way, Mr. Chairman. That's my right to
Please
use my time
suspend,
that way.
Secretary Rubio.
Well, I can go on. I mean, there's other things here. We spent $227,000 for Big Cat's YouTube channel from USAID. We
Shit.
spent $14 million for social cohesion in Mali, whatever the hell that means. So I can go on and on. I got the list here, and there's more. I didn't even bring the whole list. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker.
Oh, okay. Stop. Thank you. Fuck. Let's continue.
And that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear in the days to
Mr.
come. You're going to see
Chairman,
who you went to
look,
defend.
I'm sorry,
please,
Mr. Chairman.
Secretary
No.
Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated
Senator,
comments like that.
Secretary Rubio.
Okay, see, that's how idiotic and stupid. These are such stupid idiot motherfuckers in their own little purple-skied planets. You don't know what tats mean. You don't know what gangs are. You live in a vacuum that is not real life. And the rest of us, me, you, everyone else that's been watching this show, I lived in Ghetto Central with my wife. There were gangs all around me. I fought gangs. I know how to read tats. Every gang has their own tat. And they're in gangs because family units are and have been and will be torn asunder now and in the future. Gangs attempt to make up a power structure that was failed in the family unit itself for decades, since the 60s, since the late 50s. And it continues. And that you can't read a gang tattoo? Try. I speak leftist, and what you're saying is you're a fucking idiot.
Has the floor. You had
Secretary
your time.
Rubio should take that testimony to the federal court of
Senator,
the United States because
well,
he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch. No judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to conduct foreign policy. No judge can tell me how I have to outreach to a foreign partner or what I need to say to them. And if I do reach to that foreign partner and talk to them, I have under no obligation to share that with the judiciary branch. Just like a judge cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister of Russia, they cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister or the president of El Salvador. And if I did negotiate with them, which we have responded to them, and we've told them, we've had communications with the president of El Salvador. I am under no obligation, under our division of powers in this country, and to share with the judicial branch.
Excuse me, Marco Rubio says, while I school your stupid ass.
How I conduct the diplomacy of the United States. It would actually be counterproductive. If I started sharing with courts, or frankly, with the media, my conversations with foreign leaders and all of their details, no foreign leader would talk to me again.
Bingo.
And we would break trust with them. So I have complied with every court order. What I won't comply with is an order to disclose what I'm saying and what we're talking about with a foreign leader, because then they won't talk to me. Diplomacy doesn't work that way. About the student visas, let me say this. I don't deport anybody, and I don't snatch anybody. The State Department does not have officers in the street snatching everybody. What I do is revoke visas, and it's very simple. A visa it's not a right. It is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study. And if you tell me that you're coming to the United States to lead campus crusades, to take over libraries and try to burn down buildings and acts of violence, we're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what Ms. Ozturk did?
We're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what she
And if you
did?
do
Come
that,
on, Mr. Secretary.
and every single
You're
one of
just
these
blowing
cases, the
smoke
factors
here,
are
man.
different.
Senator,
The bottom line is, if you're
Senator,
coming here to stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you a visa. And if you
Does
have
the
a
First
visa
Amendment
and we find
apply
you,
to
we will
people
revoke
living in
it.
the United
And
States?
we're going to do more. There are more coming. We're going to continue to revoke the visas of people who are here as guests and are disrupting our higher education facilities. People are paying money. These kids pay money to go to school, and they have to walk through a
Writing an
bunch of
op-ed
lunatics
to the
who
top
are here on student
newspapers
visas.
disrupting the
Simple
foreign
as that.
policy of the United States.
I want to do more. I hope we can
That's
find more of these people.
pathetic, Mr.
In fact,
Secretary.
the other day,
First Amendment rights are not ascribed to illegal invaders, period. End of statement, you leftist fuck.
the other day, some guys led a riot. I forgot what university it was. And I asked, please, can you find the arrest records of all the people that were arrested at that riot at that campus? Because if any of them have a visa, we're going to revoke
I
it.
feel so much safer
All right,
when you
let's,
lock up people like Ms. Ozturk, Mr. Secretary.
We've had enough time on the subject.
I do too. This is what I voted for. For those of you who just tuned in, this is what I voted for. I voted for Marco Rubio to say this, to do this, to fight for Americans, to fight for people that are actual Americans, that deserve to be in this country, that are not here to be parasites on us, the hosts. He is doing exactly, precisely, 100% what I expected and wanted him to do. This is, let's go over here because it's time for...
It's time for happy stories and good times.
Here's a happy story, and I might have a couple after this as well. Federal charges filed against Democrat Congresswoman following confrontation at ICE facility. Acting U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Habba, is charging Representative LaMonica McIver for her alleged misconduct towards law enforcement in front of Delaney Hall in New Jersey earlier this month, but she is dismissing the trespassing charge against Newark Mayor Ras Baraka. Newark Mayor Ras Baraka was there as a political ploy, as a stunt, because he's running for governor. But she's federal. So she's going to find herself in the crosshairs. I don't need to go into this story in any great detail whatsoever. It's nothing more than no one is above the law. It's no more complicated than that. Here's another happy story. Supreme Court allows Trump admin to move on ending legal protections for some Venezuelan migrants. Read the story. It will be up a little bit later. Here's one from Breitbart. This is a happy story. Wrongly accused. Trump's education department rescinds Biden's $37 million fine on a Christian university because they didn't comport with DEI, which has no place in education, period. That was against Grand Canyon University, the biggest Christian university in the nation. And the Biden Autopen regime, the point was to make a point with them so that other religiously aligned universities would quiver in fear. But the things that are happening in reverse aren't in terms of retribution or revenge. They are in terms of justice. Let me go back just a bit. Lost wanderer gangs are the result of fatherless families. Oh, fuck yeah. Listen, I wasn't born yesterday, and the turnip truck that I fell off, that didn't happen at night. I worked 41 years in law enforcement and saw all of this shit. There is nothing new in law enforcement. I used to tell some of my trainees that no matter how depraved or evil or nasty or salacious or disgusting a thing that you see when you're in patrol, that's nothing new. Human beings have been doing that for centuries. There is almost nothing new under the sun that doesn't involve butchery and criminality. Absolutely nothing. True then, true now. This was most definitely a happy story. Did you guys happen to watch this? I'm not going to read this to you because this will be the last article that I go over. This is kind of surprising. Now, Pete Hegseth is the SecDef right now. And this is Will McCain. Will McCain is on at 1 p.m. Pacific on Fox. And I initially thought Will McCain is going to be kind of a dolt. He's kind of a simp, kind of a wimp, and I don't really like him. Except it turns out that he has a pretty damn good show. And he broadcasts from, I believe, his home studio in Texas. This is him talking to SecDef Hegseth. And I love what Hegseth says here.
We want to accomplish at the Pentagon? 3 clear goals. We hammer it home every day, every speech. The Joint Chiefs throughout the Pentagon restore the warrior ethos, rebuild the military, reestablish deterrence. And the warrior ethos is simple. It's readiness, accountability, lethality, warfighting. None of this woke DEI, CRT, gender pronoun, green new scam stuff. That's all out. Ideology is out. Capabilities, colorblind, merit-based, back to basics. It really is a back to basics message. And then rebuilding the military. I mean, President Trump did it in his first term. We're doing it again, making sure what we fund, the capabilities we fund, match the threats we face of the future, not reflexively what we've fought in the past. He's going to be the first president to introduce $1 trillion budget. That's not just spending more. It's also being serious about an audit. It's also finding cuts where we pull out the Biden garbage and put in President Trump's priorities. So we're going to invest a generational investment in those capabilities and then reestablishing deterrence. I mean, we've got 4 years of deferred maintenance in this country. What Joe Biden did to America's reputation is terrible. From what happened in Afghanistan, to what happened in Ukraine, to what happened in Israel, with President Trump back on the scene, and we saw it on that world trip. American leadership is back. American strength is back. Our allies are investing in their militaries because they know they have to and they should. That's all good for peace here in America. We want to accomplish.
The thing about this is the military, and I believe that I speak with obviosity. That is to say, I'm talking to everybody out there who has a whit of common sense within their fetid neural little brain. That does not include leftists and Democrats. And I state the obvious. The obvious is the military exists to kill people and break shit. It is not a social science experiment. It is based on merit and not mental disease. Trannies have no damn place in our beloved military. And our beloved military, our sons and daughters, primarily our sons, should not be applied to a war application unless we know exactly what it is that we're doing there and how to extract, how to get out. Go back to Afghanistan and the pullout via Biden under Milley and who was that other moron that was the Secretary of Defense? Lloyd Austin. They had the combined intelligence of a fucking ficus. A 5-year-old could tell you that you don't pull out your military before you pull out your assets, and sure as shit, not before you pull out your civilians. Comma, you ignorant, treasonous pieces of shit. Someday I'll come out and tell you what I really think about them. So, it should surprise no one that military recruitment is skyrocketing because men, real men, want to work and enlist in a military where they are, in fact, going to break shit and kill people. And they will be applied in such a fashion as to not embarrass the United States of America, but to defeat our enemies. Period. End of statement. Speaking of statement, I want to remind everybody of this. I have a great time every time that I'm here on this show. And it is a privilege to be here and talk to people and to have people watch and listen who actually want to hear whatever semi-lucid things I happen to say. To me, it's a privilege. I will be gone. This is my last show for about maybe 10 days or so. I will be gone Thursday, and I will be gone next Tuesday, likely. We're traveling to a Bigfoot conference to see Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who is a professor of hominidae. And we're going to have a fun time. And with luck, I can make some videos and then put them up here on the YouTube channel or perhaps even on my X. And if you look right down below, up over here, right there, BZ's Saloon on X, you might find some videos there. I'll try to communicate as much as I can about what's happening, but I won't be back for about 10 days. Not this Thursday, obviously, but next Thursday, whatever the hell day that happens to be, I will likely be back because I will be missing doing this. Damn, we need to make some cut-ups of your short phrases. The Phantom is right, though. The adults are finally back in town. Uh-oh, Phantom says we lost some subscriptions on YouTube. Uh-oh. No, maybe they didn't love me so much tonight. You know, I'm having second thoughts about that BZ. Screw SHR. Safe travels. Thanks to everybody for being here tonight. I have had, as per normal, a great time, and I hope you have too. And so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for being here tonight in BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR Media North Idaho studios. Thanks for listening live, and thanks to each and every one of you for listening later on in podcast as well. And thanks to KLRN, who they're not playing me live tonight, but Wednesday they will be playing me. And then if I were here on Thursday, they'd be playing me then. Promotional consideration are by Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, by Shure and Electro Voice Microphones, by the Arrakis Corporation that make my mixer, and also by Pratt & Whitney Engines. They are dependable engines producing thrust you can trust. Tiaras, as per normal, are by My Little Pony. And also, thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in just a few minutes, about, 20, 30 feet that away, out that door. So, everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy day and your busy night to watch. Everybody, God bless. Take care. Be safe. I will be running the rest of the comments as the show closes.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.